The bloody arrival. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the human delegation entered. The vast hall, designed to house representatives of over 400 sentient species, had never witnessed such an entrance. Commander Elena Vega led her 5 officers through the central walkway, their black uniforms pristine and pressed to perfection. But that wasn't what silenced the chamber. It was the blood. Dried crimson streaks marked their faces. Dark patches stained their shoulders. Even their polished boots left faint red imprints on the pearl-white floor, and beyond the viewport behind the council seats, the human warships hung in orbit. Massive vessels of destruction, their hulls scorched and torn, covered in what could only be described as gore. "The representative from Earth may approach," announced the council speaker, a tall, willowy being from the ancient Selmar species. His voice betrayed no emotion, but his 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme distress among his kind. Elena strode forward, her posture rigid, her eyes unflinching. "The United Earth Fleet answers the Council's invitation. We stand ready to take our place among the galactic community." The Dralian ambassador, a bulbous creature floating in his gravity chair, moved forward. "Commander Vega, forgive my directness, but your ships and your personnel, they appear to be covered in biological matter. Is this some form of Earth greeting ritual we were not informed about?" A murmur spread through the chamber. The representatives from warrior species leaned forward with interest. Those from more peaceful civilizations shrank back in their seats. "No ritual," Elena replied flatly, "just the aftermath of survival." The council speaker raised a slender hand. "Commander, we must insist on an explanation. Your fleet departed Earth 3 standard months ago for your journey here. Your communications indicated a routine passage, yet you arrive in this condition." Elena looked up at the massive screen displaying her fleet. 7 warships, once the pride of Earth's military might, now looking like wounded beasts limping home from battle. The largest vessel, the UES Prometheus, had a massive hole torn through its port side. "We took a detour," she said simply. "A detour that resulted in significant damage and apparent biological contamination," questioned the Talaxian representative, his scales rippling with agitation. "This council has strict protocols regarding unknown pathogens." Elena's second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Chen, stepped forward. "Our medical officers have confirmed no biological hazards. The biological material is from multiple sources, primarily human." This caused an even greater stir among the council members. The representative from Scorda, a species known for their empathic abilities, suddenly gasped and clutched her chest. "So much pain," she whispered. "So much loss." "What happened in the void, Commander?" asked the council speaker, his voice now soft with genuine concern. Elena looked at her officers, then back to the council. "We received a distress signal from Sector 17B, beyond the Carillion expanse, a sector that, according to your own star charts, should be uninhabited." "That sector is restricted," hissed the Dralian. "The Council declared it off-limits to all species over 200 cycles ago." "Earth received no such notification," Elena replied coolly. "And the distress signal was of human origin." The chamber fell silent again. The council speaker exchanged glances with his senior advisors before continuing. "Please elaborate, Commander." Elena nodded to Lieutenant Chen, who activated a small device. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, a distorted transmission playing for all to hear. "This is Mining Colony Epsilon 9. Under attack. Unknown hostiles, not responding to communication. Massive casualties. Anyone receiving, please help." The message cut off with a scream that sent chills through the chamber. The signal was dated 73 Earth years ago, Elena explained. From a mining expedition that was presumed lost to equipment failure. Earth had no faster-than-light travel back then. We couldn't respond. But now, we could. The council speaker's expression darkened. "You went to investigate a 73-year-old distress call." "We don't abandon our people," Elena said sharply. even if all we could do was bring their remains home for proper burial. The memory washed over her like a cold wave. The UEA's Prometheus dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Sector 17B 3 weeks earlier. Captain Elena Vega stood on the bridge, watching the stars realign on the main viewport. "All systems nominal, Captain," reported Lieutenant Chen from his station. "The fleet has successfully completed transition." Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. "Any sign of human settlements or wreckage?" "Negative, Captain. But we're detecting unusual energy signatures approximately 2 light hours from our position, consistent with some form of large-scale mining operation." Elena frowned. "That can't be right." The colony was small, 50 people at most. They had basic equipment. "The signature is current, Captain," Chen emphasized. "Not 73 years old." A chill ran down Elena's spine. "All ships, battle stations, deploy reconnaissance drones. I want eyes on that energy signature before we move closer." The next 6 hours were tense. The reconnaissance drones transmitted imagery of what appeared to be a massive installation carved into an asteroid field. The architecture was unlike anything in Earth's databases or anything shared by the Galactic Council's information exchanges. "It's harvesting the asteroids," said Science Officer Dr. Park, studying the readings. "But not for minerals. The energy patterns suggest it's extracting something else." "Life signs?" Elena asked. "Indeterminate. There's significant interference, but there's movement inside the structure." Elena made her decision. "Prepare an away team. Full combat gear. We approach with caution. The Prometheus will remain at a safe distance while the Valkyrie and Orion provide close support." The away team, led by Elena herself despite objections from her officers, boarded the shuttlecraft. As they approached the asteroid installation, the enormity of the structure became apparent. A sprawling complex of tunnels and chambers that seemed to pulse with an internal light. "Captain, receiving a transmission," announced the shuttle pilot. "Audio only." "Put it through," Elena ordered. A crackling sound filled the cabin, followed by a voice that seemed to shift between tones and pitches, as if multiple voices were speaking simultaneously. "Returning. At last. The seed bearers return." Elena felt her blood run cold. "Can you identify the language?" Dr. Park shook his head. "The translator can't make sense of it, but it's responding to our presence." As the shuttle docked with an external airlock, Elena led her team inside. The interior was a nightmare of organic and mechanical integration. Pulsing tubes ran along walls made of material that seemed almost alive, while advanced technology beyond human understanding operated silently in the background. And then they found the first bodies. Humans, preserved somehow, suspended in translucent chambers filled with fluid. Their expressions frozen in terror. Some showed signs of dissection. Others had been transformed, with implants and modifications that made them barely recognizable as human. "My God," whispered Dr. Park. "They've been experimenting on them. For decades." Elena fought back nausea. "Find survivors. Find answers." They proceeded deeper into the facility, documenting the horrors they encountered. Not just humans. Other species were there too. Some recognized from council records, others completely unknown. In the central chamber, they discovered the truth. A massive organic computer, pulsing with life, surrounded by thousands of preservation pods. Each pod contained a brain, removed from its original body, kept alive, connected to the central system. A processing center, Dr. Park realized with horror. They're using sentient brains as biological processors, a living computer network. Before they could retreat, the chamber sealed itself. The voice returned, now coming from all around them. "The seed bearers have returned. Strong. Viable. You will join the collective." The attack came without warning. Creatures emerged from hidden chambers, humanoid but wrong, with too many joints, skin stretched tight over enhanced musculature, eyes replaced with clusters of sensory organs. They moved with terrible speed. The away team opened fire. The shuttle pilot sent an emergency signal to the fleet. The battle had begun. In the council chamber, Elena's voice remained steady as she continued. What we found was not just the remains of our mining colony. It was a harvesting station, an outpost of something ancient and patient, something that collects sentient species, preserves their nervous systems, and uses them as components in a vast biological processing network. The council members looked at each other in growing horror. We lost 37 personnel in the initial contact, Elena continued, but we discovered that the outpost was merely that, an outpost. It had sent a signal to its point of origin when we arrived, a signal that would bring more of them. What did you do? Asked the council speaker, his voice barely audible. Elena looked up at the bloody ships displayed on the screen. What was necessary? We tracked the signal to its destination, a massive vessel approaching from deep space. We engaged. We discovered they were vulnerable to certain radiation frequencies. We modified our weapons. We fought. Lieutenant Chen stepped forward again. The battle lasted 3 days. We lost the UES Valkyrie with all hands. The Prometheus was critically damaged, but we prevailed. The enemy vessel was destroyed before it could send any further signals. Elena's eyes hardened. We didn't clean our ships. We didn't wash away the blood. We kept it as a reminder and as a warning. There is something out there, beyond the edges of your charted space, something that sees sentient life as resources to be harvested. And now it knows we're here. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted questions, demands, accusations. The council speaker banged his ceremonial staff for order. Elena waited until the noise subsided. We did not come here just to take our place on the council. We came to warn you and to ask a question. What question? Asked the council speaker. Elena's gaze swept the chamber, meeting the eyes of dozens of alien representatives. How long have you known about them? And why didn't you warn us? Guardians of the Galaxy. The council chamber remained in chaos for nearly an hour after Commander Elena Vega's accusation. Eventually, the speaker called for a closed session, dismissing all but the highest-ranking representatives and the human delegation. Elena stood firm at the center of the now smaller but no less impressive chamber. Around her, 20 beings from the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy formed a circle. Their expressions, those she could read, ranged from grave concern to obvious hostility. Your accusations are serious, Commander, the council speaker began. You claim we deliberately withheld information about this threat. What evidence supports this charge? Elena nodded to Lieutenant Chen, who projected another hologram into the chamber. This time, it displayed ancient-looking glyphs and symbols. These were found throughout the harvesting station, Elena explained. Dr. Park managed to decode portions of them, using comparative linguistics and the data we've received from Council archives since Earth joined the interstellar community. The scholar from Thal Beta, a species known for their extensive historical archives, leaned forward. These are warning markers. From the precursor era. Exactly, Elena confirmed. Warning markers that match symbols found on prohibited worlds throughout Council space. Worlds that, according to official records, are restricted due to environmental instability or toxic atmospheres. Yet these same symbols appear in a facility designed to harvest sentient beings. The Drillian representative floated closer. What exactly are you implying, human? I'm not implying anything, Elena replied coldly. I'm stating that the Council, or at least some members of it, have known about this threat for millennia. You've been quarantining worlds where their technology appears, but you've done nothing to eliminate the threat itself. The chamber fell silent. The council speaker's 4 eyes blinked slowly, deliberately. You are partially correct, Commander, he finally admitted. The entity you encountered is known to us. We call them the Harvesters. Their true name, if they have one, is unknown. Elena felt her hands clench into fists. And you didn't think to share this information when Earth joined the Council. Information about the harvesters is provided on a need-to-know basis, the representative from Marduk said, his metallic skin reflecting the chamber's lights. Most member worlds never need to know. The harvesters were believed dormant for the past 8,000 cycles. Dr. Park stepped forward, his research tablet displaying data. Not dormant, patient. The facility we found had been operational for at least 5 centuries. It was simply collecting. Slowly, carefully, starting with isolated outposts where disappearances would be attributed to hazards of space. Elena activated another holographic display. This one showed medical scans of the creatures they had encountered. These were once people. Various species, modified and converted. The harvesters don't just take brains for their network. They repurpose entire bodies as soldiers and workers. The Zicorda representative shuddered visibly. This knowledge would cause panic if widely distributed. You understand why the Council has been cautious with this information. Caution becomes complicity when it leads to preventable deaths, Elena countered. Our colony might have been warned away from that sector if Earth had known the truth. The Council speaker raised his hand for silence. What would you have us do, Commander? Announce to the galaxy that an ancient species harvests sentient beings for parts. That no outpost is truly safe. That would collapse interstellar trade and cooperation overnight. Elena took a deep breath. I would have you prepare. The vessel we destroyed sent a signal before we could neutralize it. A signal aimed toward the galactic core. Whatever the main body of the Harvester Collective is, it now knows that one of its outposts has been compromised. This revelation sent a new wave of tension through the chamber. The military representative from Orion Prime, a massive being with exoskeletal armor, spoke for the first time. You have provoked a dormant enemy into action. They were never dormant, Lieutenant Chen countered, just hunting more carefully, and now they'll hunt openly. Elena stepped forward, her voice carrying through the chamber. Earth didn't start this war, but we're willing to fight it. The question is, will the Council stand with us, or continue to hide the truth? The Council members exchanged glances. Finally, the speaker gestured to a sealed door at the rear of the chamber. Perhaps it is time you saw what we know of the harvesters. Follow me. Elena and her officers were led through a series of security checkpoints into the most restricted section of the Council station, a vast archive that stretched for kilometers. Here, holographic displays showed star maps with red zones marked throughout the galaxy. Each red zone indicates a confirmed harvester presence throughout our recorded history, explained the speaker. As you can see, they appear to move in patterns, emerging in one region, harvesting, then disappearing for centuries before appearing elsewhere. Elena studied the patterns. They're systematic, working their way around the galaxy in a spiral pattern. Precisely. We estimate they have been doing this for at least 50 million years, predating most current sentient species. The next chamber contained preserved specimens, harvester technology, and biological components collected over millennia. Elena recognized similarities to what they had encountered, but some appeared even more advanced. Why haven't you developed countermeasures? Dr. Park asked, examining the artifacts. With centuries of collected samples, surely defenses could be created. The Marduk representative answered, every attempt to reverse engineer their technology has ended in disaster. Their systems appear to contain dormant awareness. Connecting to them risks contamination. Elena pointed to a particular display, a small device similar to one they had destroyed on the harvester ship. This contains neural tissue. We found that targeted radiation in the gamma spectrum disrupts the connection between organic and mechanical components. That's how we managed to defeat them. The military representatives immediately crowded around, suddenly interested. The Orion Prime commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. You developed an effective weapon against harvester technology in a matter of days. Necessity, Elena said simply. When your only options are innovation or extinction, you innovate quickly. The council speaker studied Elena with his 4 eyes. Humanity has done what the council has failed to do for millennia. You've not only survived an encounter with the harvesters, you've developed an effective defense and destroyed one of their vessels. Elena nodded, and we're willing to share everything we've learned. But in exchange, the council ends its policy of secrecy. All member worlds must be warned and prepared. For the first time, the speaker seemed uncertain. The panic will be less destructive than being unprepared when they come, Elena interrupted. And they will come. The only questions are when and in what numbers. The chamber fell silent as the council members considered her words. Finally, the Zakorta representative spoke, her voice gentle but firm. I sense no deception in the humans, only determination. And I sense something else. She moved closer to Elena. You kept the blood on your ships deliberately, not just as evidence or warning, but as a promise. Elena met her gaze steadily, a promise to those we lost, that their sacrifice would not be in vain, that we would ensure the galaxy was ready when the harvesters returned. The council speaker looked around at the other representatives, then back to Elena. It seems humanity brings more to the council than we anticipated. Not just technological innovation or military strength, but a perspective we have lacked. Courage, said the Orion Prime Commander unexpectedly. They faced the darkness without flinching. We have been hiding from it. The speaker nodded slowly. Then let it be recorded that on this day, the policy of secrecy regarding the harvesters is ended. Commander Vega, your people will work with our military council to develop these countermeasures for distribution to all member worlds. Elena straightened, and our place on the council secured, the speaker confirmed, though perhaps in a capacity we did not originally envision. Humanity has proven itself not just worthy of membership, but worthy of leadership in this coming conflict. As they returned to the main council chamber, word had already spread of the closed session's outcome. Representatives crowded around, now viewing the blood-stained humans, not with fear, but with something new, respect, and perhaps hope. Elena addressed the full council one final time. The blood on our ships will remain until the threat is ended, not as a mark of shame, but as a badge of honor and a promise to the galaxy. Humanity stands ready to defend all sentient life against the darkness. We ask only that you stand with us. One by one, the representatives rose to their feet, or equivalent appendages, in a gesture of unity that transcended species. The message was clear. The galaxy would face this threat together. As Elena and her officers departed the chamber, Lieutenant Chen spoke quietly. Think they'll be ready when the time comes. Elena looked back at the assembled council, then up at the viewport where her battle-scarred fleet hung in orbit, still wearing the blood of their fallen comrades. They'd better be, she said, because the harvesters aren't just coming for humans. They're coming for everyone. And next time, we might need more than just courage and improvisation to stop them. The ships remained in orbit around the council world for weeks as information was shared, strategies developed, and alliances formed. And through it all, the blood remained, a testament to humanity's sacrifice and a promise of their determination. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy prepared for war, not with itself, but with an ancient enemy that had preyed on sentient life from the shadows. An enemy that would soon discover that its prey had finally learned to fight back. And leading the charge would be the blood-stained ships of Earth.